Hello, welcome to A Killer Friday. Who are we here to talk about today? Jane Toppan, born Harana Kelly, was an American serial killer nicknamed Jolly Jane. After her arrest in 1901, she confessed to 31 murders. It is possible, it is rumored, that she could have killed up to 100 people. None of those are proven, just confessed to the 31. She is quoted as saying that her ambition was to have killed more people, helpless people, than any other man or woman who ever lived. And by golly, did she give a good God honest after that. It gave it the old college try on trying to get rid of a bunch of people. Welcome to An Education in Horror presents A Killer Friday. I know that's a long title, but it is what it is. We said An Education in Horror was taking a little bit of a backseat. It's not necessarily taking a backseat, it's just changing a little bit in how we're going to be doing it and how we're going to be presenting it. Obviously, Killer Friday will be an extension of what that originally was. We're going to continue on with that, possibly even increase it in the future, but not at the moment. So we're going to do Jane Toppan, and then as soon as we are done with Jane Toppan tomorrow morning, we will have two brand new serial killers for your voting enjoyment. Joe Matheny, as we've discussed earlier, did get eliminated from a Killer Friday contention. He is out indefinitely, man. It's kind of like getting torn ACL, man, in the middle of the football season. You're just done. You're just done. We probably won't see him until next year. We have absolutely no clue who we're going to be putting up to vote here very shortly, but we'll figure it out tonight, and we'll get two brand new serial killers up for you first thing in the morning for your voting pleasure. We're going to give you a week to vote and decide who we're going to be doing in April. Very excited to see who you all pick. Kind of excited to see who we pick, for you to pick. It's a lot of picking going on, I know. Try and keep up. It can get confusing. Now, also, Wells Township Haunted House review is still coming, and it is coming very, very shortly. Right behind that, right beside that, maybe even right in front of it. It just, we don't really know. Castle Blood's going to be hitting right with it, too. Great quality haunts. Little disclaimer on what these haunt reviews are going to be. It's going to be a little different than what you're used to with the regular season haunt. Number one, both of these places did earn a return trip. We will be going up during the Halloween season to do a full Halloween season review on both of these places. Had a great time at both. I enjoyed Wells Township a little bit more. I think Trish maybe enjoyed Castle Blood a little bit more. I don't know. They were both amazing experiences and two completely different experiences. But the disclaimer, these are holiday style attractions, so we're just reviewing them from the holiday aspect. Like I said, we're going to go back and do another review of both of these places during the actual haunt season. Very excited to go revisit them. For me, and again, Trish doesn't record these, so she doesn't get to talk about how much she likes Castle Blood. I loved Wells Township, and I liked Castle Blood. But Sean's going to talk about it a little bit during his interview as to what it is they have going on during the haunt season, and I'm so excited to experience it. I don't think it's immersive theater, but it's close. It flirts with it a little bit, and it's awesome, man. And this isn't about Wells Township, so I got to stop because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited about things that aren't quite ready yet. So we got to slow down. So we're here to talk about a murderous nurse bitch named Jane Toppan, right? That's the whole reason that we're here today, to discuss her. All right, cool. I got it. We'll go ahead. We'll get into it right away. Enough announcements, right? It's too many announcements sometimes. Although we are going to Stag in July. I don't know if you heard about that, but that's pretty exciting. And over 2,700 followers. God, thank you all so much. You all are absolutely amazing. We bow down to you all and your greatness and everything that you got going on. A little shout out to Body Bag Haunts and what they got going on over there. He just hit up several immersive theaters. If you have not checked out Body Bag Haunts, go check him out. He's got some awesome stuff, does everything with his son, I believe. That's his son that he's out there doing that with, but I could be completely wrong on that. But I'm like 95% sure. Check them out. Body Bag Haunts, they're on Facebook. They're doing their thing as well. Very, very cool organization, and we support them very much. Like everything that they got going on there. So check them out. But anyways, it's enough of all that. We're here for Jane Toppan, and that's what we're about to get into. Now, just like we did with H.H. Holmes, we're going to focus on the upbringing, what their childhood was like, as much information as we can find out about that. This happened a little ways ago. 1854 was when she was born, so, not the easiest. Finding a tremendous amount of information on her, and she's not one of the more well-known serial killers. Just not as popular, I guess, as a Ted Bundy or Richard Ramirez or anything like that. Who knows? Maybe I'm throwing out hints as to who's going to be up for vote next month. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not throwing out hints. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Excited to see it, though. Maybe for the first time ever, we'll put two against each other, and then another two against each other, and then the two winners of that one will collide. But man, that seems like an awful lot of voting. I don't know. Anyways, Jane Toppan, born August 17th, 1854, in Boston, Massachusetts, to a lower middle-class family. Although the accounts of her early life are largely hazy, and that is true, they are largely hazy, it has been reported that her mother, Bridget Kelly, died when Jane was still an infant. So before Jane's, even 1 year old, already got some tragedy that she has to deal with in her life. And that's rough. Trisha's an excellent mother. My mom was a great mom and everything like that. So to not have that growing up, that's going to have an effect on a child. Not saying that gives you the right to go poison people in a hospital, but I'm saying from an early on going, you can see almost immediately upon her entrance into this world tragedies in her life. And that sucks. That's hard to deal with. And regretfully for Jane, it doesn't get really much better. Records say that she passed away due to tuberculosis. You should have listened to me try to pronounce that word. Last night I was practicing this, and I came to tuberculosis, and I shit you not, I sat there for 20 minutes just going, tuberculosis. Just the word was in my brain, and my mouth was just like, no, fuck that word. I don't want to say that word. And then today I was really nervous about it. I was like, man, I'm going to fuck this up. And I nailed it, man. I fucking nailed tuberculosis like a boss. So that's awesome. That's a little victory for me. It's a side note. I know it's weird. I don't care. I shouldn't be celebrating tuberculosis, but I'm killing it right now. So I'm pretty excited about that. So her mother died from probably tuberculosis, which was apparently untreatable at that time. Jane's parents were Irish immigrants, and her father worked as a small-time tailor. She grew up with 3 other sisters in the household. This is where stuff goes from tragic to more tragic and kind of weird, how all this plays out. Following the death of her mother, her father, Peter Kelly, turned insane. Slowly, he grew notorious about his locality and got known as Kelly the Crack. He heavily indulged into alcohol and made the life of all of his daughters hellish. One of the most popular accounts of his insanity states that he once tried to sew his own eyelids shut. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit here, okay? Before we're judging Jane too hard. Mom dies immediately, okay? You never even know your mom. You never even see your mom. Back in this day, hell, there may not have even been that many pictures of her mom. Okay, so she has absolutely no identity, no identification with her mother. That's tragic in and of itself. Now, mom dies when you're an infant. Dad goes insane after the death of your mother. So you have no mother and an insane fucking father that's raising 3 daughters, probably driving him a little more insane because that is what 3 daughters would do. No offense, I love my kids to death. They drive me insane sometimes. I haven't tried to sew my eyelids shut yet. You never know. But as of right now, pretty stable. Haven't tried to sew my eyelids shut or anything like that. And Jane from an early age, so her father is immediately insane. No mother, insane father. And then to top it off, he hits this extreme point where you walk in on your dad. And it doesn't say how old she was, but I can't imagine she was that old. And your dad's trying to sew his fucking eyelids shut. How does that not fuck with you? How does that not stick with you and change your psyche as a human being? Again, not defending her, not saying what she did was okay, not saying that she should not have been punished severely for her crimes. And we'll talk about her punishment later on. But I get it a little bit, like I understand. That is not an easy childhood. That's not an easy upbringing for anybody. And incredibly enough, somehow, this shit show of a childhood is still going to get a little bit worse. So after the eyelid sewing shut incident, Peter somehow had enough sense to know that he was a very bad influence. I'd say so. And hence he took 2 of his youngest children, Jane and Delilah, to the Boston Female Asylum. Fuck off. Are you kidding me? So now no mom, raised with crazy eye sewing shut dad, who then reportedly decides that the best option isn't to try to find another family for you, isn't to maybe see if there's an adoption agency of some sort. Hell, let them go into the foster program with the state. Nah, fuck all that. You drop them off at a female insane asylum, and more even than that, the fucking asylum takes them. Now, I don't know how things were being ran in the early 1900s. I don't know what all was going on with systems like that. I might be talking out my asshole as far as what was or wasn't available. I didn't research that particular aspect of it. But I'm assuming that there was probably some sort of child welfare system in place in the early 1900s of America. Right? And this is what we got. This girl has been traumatized since she has entered this world. And the best solution that we got is to put her in a female insane asylum. So that's where we are now. Now, there is another story that tell about her entrance to the asylum. The actual official accounts state that the sisters were rescued from the abusive, alcoholic, and eccentric father. And again, I still can't understand going to the asylum because as you're going to see here in just a moment, crazy enough, shit's going to get worse. It's awful. So during their stay in the asylum, it was reported that Jane's older sister, Delilah, started working as a prostitute. So now you're in an insane asylum. Both of your parents have been gone, are gone. Dad's sewing eyelids shut. And now your sister is a goddamn fucking prostitute in the same insane asylum that you're at. That is some rough fucking dice to be rolled. It's tough. It's tough. Jane, however, manages to get a job at a local house as a house servant. Holy shit. This didn't hit me until I sometimes I research this stuff and I'm punching it in, and then kind of when I go back over it, it hits you a little harder. She was a little over 9 years old at this time. So she's not even 10 years old. Dad's tried to sew his eyelids shut. Mom's been dead forever. You're in a female insane asylum, and your sister is fucking selling herself off as a prostitute, and now you have to get a job as a house servant. Fuck, that's rough. Jane Toppan, the owner of the house, never officially adopted Jane, but she brought her up as her own daughter, more or less. Things do seem to have a moment of improvement for Jane when she gets out of the asylum and gets into the care of the Toppans. Sorry, I lost my thought there. Adopted Jane, brought her up as her own. Jane also adopted the last name of her benefactors, taking on the name Jane Toppan. She was, we'd already talked about her original name. Now she's going by Jane Toppan. Toppan also formed a close bond with Anne's daughter, Elizabeth. And this relationship ends up pretty fucking badly. They both went to school together, lived in the same house, almost like sisters. For the first time in Jane's life, she is experiencing a little bit of a somewhat normal family life. Still a house servant, yes, but raised as her daughter. She kind of has this stepsister, I think would be a good way of describing it for her, sister-in-law, some shit like that. So a little bit of normalcy for Jane, which is good, At this point in her life, good for her. She needed some of this. It's a shame that it wasn't enough. So during the senior year of their high school, so they go through all life living with the Toppans. She's essentially their daughter. So we come up to the senior year of high school. She got attracted to a man, started a relationship, but it did not work out, and she received the shock of a lifetime when she was left at the altar by the man. Fuck. This chick can't catch a break for shit, man. I think leaving somebody at the altar is probably one of the most fucked up things you could probably do. I have done a lot of things in my life that I'm not necessarily proud of.
I would have killed you.
And everything like that. I'm sure everyone else has too. Moments that we don't like to look back on, but leaving somebody at the altar, that's a rough one. That's very much a conversation you could have in the back, for sure, if it's at that point. But damn, that's rough. This led Jane to become a depressed young woman. Obviously, it fucking did. Several other failed relationships had her believing that she was not worthy of love by men, which became the genesis of her weird sexual behavior later in her life that we are going to be getting into shortly. She did have some odd habits before she got into killing. And it's not quite murder time yet. We are getting there. We're out of high school now, right? No murders yet. She didn't kill any cat. That's something that I found odd about her. No animal killing. Seems like with a lot of these serial killers, it starts with animals. Starts with something along those lines. Nothing that I found of Jane Toppan killing any animals whatsoever. So a little different there, but, you know, whatever. We'll talk about her crimes and her time as a nurse. We'll bring that pretty little picture back up there. Goodness gracious. So in 1885, she started her training as a nurse in the Cambridge Hospital, where she was loved by her patients and co-workers. Due to her loving nature and how much everybody loved her, she developed the nickname of Jolly Jane. How about that? A very happy, positive, go-lucky serial killer at the moment. But what went under the curtains remained unknown for many years. Jane used some of the most critical patients as her guinea pigs for experimentations. She gave them morphine in higher doses than normal, and when they became unconscious, she would lie with them in the bed. Now, Trish and I talked about this a little bit. So she's knocking these people out and then lying in bed with them. And she's not killing them at this point. She's just bringing them to a point of being unconscious. There's obviously some type of sexual satisfaction with this. But, you know, was she lying in bed and masturbating beside them? Was she actually trying to fuck them? Or is that even possible if somebody's unconscious on morphine? I don't know. I don't know. It never really says. And she never said that she was fucking them. So it kind of leads me to believe, and it kind of led Trish to believe as well, that she was probably just lying in bed and getting some satisfaction just by being beside them. She confesses to 31 murders, poisoning 31 different people, as well as some other fucked up shit. So if she had done that really on the scale of what's the worst possible thing, I don't think that fucking somebody while they're unconscious on morphine trumps murder. I feel like murder wins in that case. I feel like murder wins in most cases. Very few times that murder is the better option. But why wouldn't she have just confessed to it? If she had done that, there's no reason that she wouldn't have just said that she did it. It kind of even seems there towards the end. And it does with a lot of these serial killers that once they get caught, their last little act is to try to shock the world with their confessions and what they did and how evil they are. And they love that moment. You know, they know they're going to die most of the time. They realize that they're fucked. They're either spending life in prison or they're going to be facing some type of death sentence. So why not? Why not try and shock the whole fucking world with everything that you've done? Why would she hold back? I don't follow it, excuse me. It doesn't make any sense to me that she would stop it. She's silly sometimes. You don't have to watch her. It doesn't make any sense to me or to Trish that she would actually be doing that. So, again, whether she had sexual relations with her partners or not, it's not known. She did admit that she got sexual satisfaction lying in the bed with men who were about to die. She spent quite a lot of her alone time, She spent quite a lot of alone time with her patients and cared for them when other people were around. So when people are watching, people are around, family members, other employees, she is the absolute prototypical perfect little employee nurse. Great bedside manner. Would have been the ideal nurse. Hell, sounds like if you're in the right place at the right time, you know, she'd get a little frisky with you too. Yeah, a lot of guys that have that nurse fantasy. It's not for me. I don't want a nurse lying in bed with me. That's weird. Especially one that looked like Jane Toppan. She wasn't a looker, as far as I could tell. So not for me, but I'm sure there's people out there that would absolutely love it. So, really going above and beyond Miss Jane Toppan in her nurse duties. So, it's kept her in the good books, good graces of her co-workers and her bosses. And due to that, she was transferred to Massachusetts General Hospital in 1889. And not good. Not good to get transferred over here because this place is huge. In a hospital as big as MGH, she could not sustain her experimentations and weird behaviors for a long time. She was fired within a year. Following that, she tried moving back to Cambridge Hospital for a small period of time. She got her old job back somehow, but her bad record with MGH put her under heavy scrutiny without her knowledge. That resulted in her getting fired from the hospital after just a few months when she was caught red-handed overdosing a patient. So up to this point, we went to Cambridge for a while. Then we got transferred over to Massachusetts General Hospital, where it was, I went kind of the wrong way there. It was harder for her to pull off her stunts. She hasn't killed anybody at this point, mind you. Harder for her to pull off her stunts than it was at Cambridge. I guess in my head I thought it would have been the other way around, so my bad on the mislead there. But, so she transfers back to Cambridge after, no.
She doesn't transfer, she got fired.
You know what you're right. Yeah, sorry. Got corrected there. My bad. It's live, so we don't get to edit and stop and go back and rewind. You get to watch my mess-ups. So enjoy that moment. I hope you enjoyed that moment. She gets fired from Massachusetts General Hospital. They can her ass. They tell her, get the fuck out. You're overdosing people and masturbating beside them. That is, did you not read the employee handbook? Right there, section 64-A, it says don't masturbate beside unconscious patients that you overdosed on fucking morphine. Okay? Maybe. All right, somehow gets her job back at Cambridge. All right? Due to the masturbating with unconscious people, Cambridge kind of watches her a little bit harder and goes, holy shit, she's overdosing people with morphine and then masturbating beside them. We're going to have to let her go too. So that happens. That results in her getting fired from the hospital. Then goes back again to Cambridge. She gets fired from there. So Jane starts working as a private nurse. Fantastic, right? This is exactly the type of nurse that you want. Starts working as a private nurse, has decent experience with her. She has been a nurse for a while. At this point, she does at least know how the job is supposed to function, whether she's actually doing it that way or not. Obviously, a little bit of a different story. And her career begins to flourish a little bit. In the early stages of her new professional ventures, she got booked quite a few times for her indulgences in petty thefts, for all of the charges, but all the charges on her were discarded. So it seems like even when things go good, this fucked up side of Jane won't really let it happen. You know, she becomes a nurse, she gets a good job at Massachusetts General Hospital, you know, got away with some stuff at Cambridge, and then even when she secures that good job, she can't stop herself. She has to keep doing what she was doing, and we'll find out soon where a lot of that sexual frustration stemmed from. You know, you think back to the early breakup and getting left at the altar, excuse me, and everything like that. It's all led up to this point. And now we're hitting that crux where we're about to see murder time start happening pretty hardcore for her. She's went through a lot through her childhood, up to the age of 9. And now she gets involved with the Toppan family, has a little bit of reprieve for a little while. Don't forget about her sister, or her stepsister. We're going to come back to her and how all that fucking blows the fuck up pretty aggressively. But we'll get into that here shortly. Just remember, sister's not out of this story yet. Spends time with Toppan family, moves forward, comes out of high school. Things are kind of looking up for a second. Becomes a nurse, getting married, and gets left at the altar. So that fucking sucks. That knocks her back down a couple pegs. And then she can never fucking pull herself up away from when she got left at the altar. That was, I think, the final straw. Between daddy sewing his eyelids shut and sister being a prostitute and everything else. I think that was really it. That was the last one that broke it.
Daddy's son, his eyelids shut would have been my final straw.
Yeah, that's a rough one to see. I can't imagine that at all, man. That's some crazy shit. So anyways, so we've built up to this point. Private nurse, things begin to flourish. Like she could have had a career as Jolly Jane, the not murderous poisoning nurse. People liked her when she wasn't trying to kill them or overdose on them and masturbate beside them. So there was a possibility there, and she just couldn't get past it. So anyways, gets indulged with the petty theft, gets caught several times, kind of ruins all that, but all those charges were dismissed. Anyways, leads up to, let's be real about it. This is all of this shit beforehand. Y'all don't give a fuck about that. You just want murder time, right? The part where she starts fucking whacking people. Well, it's time, goddammit. It's murder time. So she befriends an elderly landlord and his wife, but kills them one by one. She later explained they had gotten feeble and fussy and old and cranky. I don't completely disagree with her first murder. Old people, you listen up. Some of you are feeble and fussy and old and cranky. We're fucking sick of it. Stop it. You stop being old and cranky. You stop being feeble and fussy. Or I'll poison your asses. Just like Jane Toppan. I'm with her on this first one, man. Feeble and fussy, old and cranky. Fuck that shit too. No. I don't mean that. Maybe. So, anyways. So her colleagues in nursing school remembered her saying there was no use. I kind of like this statement a little bit. Her colleagues in nursing school remembered her saying there's no use keeping old people alive. Before you get all judgy, before it happens, I want you to think back to the Eskimos. Okay? What did they do with old people? They put them on a fucking cube of ice and kicked their asses out into the middle of the fucking ocean. Right? Now, I'm not saying that we need to murder old people at all. I do agree with the great comic Chad Daniels that sometimes it's a little fucked up to see them breathing our air while they're walking around with a tank of their own goddamn air behind them. But, nonetheless, it just feels selfish to me. You know, it's just... Anyways, her first murders, we don't agree with them. We love you old people. Please don't stop watching. Please don't. We probably just got like 20 fucking unfollows and unlikes after that nonsense. It's okay. It happens. It happens. Sorry. Anyways, 1889, 70-year-old Mary McClear fell ill on a visit to Cambridge. Her doctor sent Jane Toppan, one of my best nurses, he told her, to care for her. Jane poisoned Mary McClear almost immediately. So there's another one. A month later, she kills a close friend with strychnine so she could take her job as the dining hall matron at St. John's Theological School in Cambridge. That's one way to climb the corporate ladder. Just fucking murder people. Diane, if you're watching, I know how to get your job now. Anyways, it's a little inside joke for my boss. Hopefully she doesn't get offended. Love you, Diane, very much. Don't fire me. Anyways, so a month later, she kills somebody to get a job. She got the job, but it didn't last. The administration couldn't ignore complaints of her incompetence and constant missing money. So, Elizabeth Toppan Brigham, Jane's foster sister, remember? We talked about her. I told you the story wasn't over with her yet. Often invited her to come and stay in her house that she grew up in. Jane sometimes took her up on the invitation. Jolly Jane was vacationing in Buzzards Bay in the summer of 1899 when she targeted Elizabeth Brigham. Elizabeth complained of depression, and Jane invited her down to the Cape. One day, and remember, this is her only semblance of a sister of true family that she's had. I mean, you know, from the age of 9, she probably even haven't really seen Delilah. She's out prostituting herself. Hell, she could be dead for all we know. You know, Delilah's out of the picture. This is your only real source of any type of true family. So keep that in mind. So she took Elizabeth to the beach for a picnic of cold corned beef, taffy, mineral water, laced with strychnine. Delicious mineral water laced with strychnine. It's absolutely refreshing. Some of the best water one could ever have. Just add a little bit of strychnine poisoning to your water for an extra little kick. That extra little energy boost that you're looking for right before you fall into a 6-foot hole. Delicious. Delicious. Needless to say, it kills Elizabeth, obviously. Jane goes on to say, I held her in my arms and watched with delight as she gasped her life out. That sucks. That's just shitty. And you're going to find out the reason why she killed her in just a moment, and it just makes it that much more shitty. Jane Toppan later insinuated herself into the household of Elizabeth's widower, Ormel Brigham, because she wanted to marry him. Within 3 days, she kills Brigham's housekeeper. Of course, why not? 77-year-old Aidan Bannister. She took over from Aidan. That's just, man, this bitch is just, how has nobody put this together? That every job she takes comes from a dead person that was poisoned. Fuck! 2 and 2, man. It equals 4. Clearly, this bitch is up to no good at this point. What the fuck are the cops doing? I just, oh man, I don't understand it sometimes. How these guys and girls fucking get away with this shit. This is so fucking blatantly obvious what she's doing here. Anyways, she took over for Eden, tried to impress Mr. Brigham with her housekeeping skills, showing her how good of a house cleaner she is. He makes it clear he didn't want her as a housekeeper or as a fucking wife. I think he knew. I think he knew something fishy happened that day, and I don't think he fucking liked her at all. So Jane Toppan decided to win his love by poisoning him and then nursing him back to health. You think you've had some crazy ex-girlfriends. That didn't work either. So she threatened to claim he had gotten her pregnant. An enraged Brigham ordered Jolly Jane Toppan out of the fucking house. And I don't blame you, man. That is some crazy shit. So she tries to commit suicide with an overdose of morphine, but failed and went to the hospital. There's something else Trish and I talked about. I call fucking bullshit on that. You have been poisoning people with morphine and strychnine poisoning for quite some time up to this point, and you're going to tell me that your ass can't figure out how to do it to yourself? You are also a fucking expert in making people unconscious with morphine to the point that you can masturbate or whatever the fuck it was you were doing beside them, and them not wake the fuck up. And yeah, I saw it go off. Anyway, I got to back it up. It's cool. So you're telling me that this person that has this much experience with poisoning, murder, and nursing school, mind you, doesn't know how much morphine it would take to kill her body? Bull fucking shit. This was an attention grab and nothing more. So anyways, that was my little rant. I hate fucking...
I've had experience with attention grabbing issues like that.
As have I, and I can't stand it. Oh my God, it drives me nuts. That's so fucking stupid. Anyways, so her suicide attempt fails. She gets released from the hospital, and she's visited by an old friend, Sarah Nichols, who lived with her and who lived with her brother in Amherst, New Hampshire. By 1901, a Massachusetts state detective finally was following Jane Toppan, as he rightfully should have been. He suspected her of killing the entire family of Alden Davis. Jane had rented a cabin in Bourne from the Davis family, but she hadn't kept up with the rent. Alden Davis's wife Maddie came to Cambridge to collect, but Jane killed her with a beautiful cocktail. Absolutely delicious concoction of morphine and strychnine. So we got a little double dose coming at you now. But yeah, she still didn't know how to kill her own fucking self. Then she moved in with the elderly Alden Davis to take care of him. How he didn't put it to... I don't know. I guess nobody's fucking doing background checks or looking into anything, man. Anyway, so Jane Toppan took care of Alden Davis all right. She kills him, and then two of his married daughters, Minnie Gibbs and Gaudeline Gordon, kills both of them. Gibbs' father-in-law suspected the sudden deaths of an entire healthy family. Yeah, you fucking think? He consulted a toxicologist and got a judge to order Minnie's body exhumed. Investigation revealed she died of morphine and strychnine poisoning. Police arrested Jane Toppan in Amherst on October 29th, 1901. Puts this reign of terror to a fucking end. Again, confesses to 31 murders. It is perhaps as high as in the hundreds. She claims she started her killing spree because a boyfriend dumped her when she was 16. And then, of course, she also got left at the altar and everything else, man. I think there was a lot more to it than just that. I think it was the combination and accumulation of everything that she went through throughout her childhood, her upbringing, and everything else. And I'm not saying that any of it justifies a single fucking thing she did. She was a piece of shit and got exactly... Well, no, honestly, we'll talk about that in a second as far as did she or did she not get what she deserved. Because I don't think that she did.
No.
But she was a piece of shit, murder, and psychopath that should have been fucking poisoned with morphine and strychnine herself. And made sure that she was made sure that we got all the way with that suicide attempt that second time around. But I can also be realistic, and I can also sympathize with a child that was born without a mother, that was born into a psycho father, a sister that was off into prostitution before you're 9 years old. You're in an insane asylum. You saw your own father try and sew his eyelids shut, and that was your upbringing. I can sympathize with that. I can sympathize with getting left at the altar. I get it. It's all fucked up. It was a shitty hand to be dealt, but it was the hand you were dealt with, and poisoning possibly up to 100 people is not the way to fucking respond to that shit. Fuck you, Jane Toppan. You were interesting to study, but fuck you. Anyways, so low officer worker, so talking about again the boyfriend, low officer worker gave her a promise ring, but moved to Massachusetts, fell in love with someone else. She says, if I had been a married woman, I probably would not have killed all those people, she said. I doubt that very seriously. I don't believe that for half a second. She says she would have had her husband, her children, or her home to take up her mind. I don't believe that, not even for a split second. She would have been a murderous psychopath no matter what. Husband and family would have just probably been good cover for her, and I don't think that she was the type of person that could have had a normal family. Some of these people can't. A lot of them can't. Well, you know, I hope to look into the Iceman one day and stuff like that, and he was a top-notch family man. Just a fucking psychopathic killer for the mafia. But, so I just don't think that she was one of them. And I don't like the end of her trial and the punishment that was dealt to her. I do like how effective and quick her trial was. I think we could have a lot more of this. Some of these serial killer trials go on for fucking years. And I don't understand everything that goes into litigation and lawyers and everything else. But I feel like a lot of this shit is just time wasting, money wasting, stupid shit that we could probably get done a little bit quicker than what we do. That's just my little political view for half a second. We're going to jump right back here. We're almost done, almost to the end. So an 8-hour trial takes place in Barnstable County Courthouse. What a fucking, that sounds like a Mingo County Courthouse. Barnstable County, you can look at me like that all you want. You probably have a Barnstable County Courthouse somewhere down there. Are you sure? Okay. Well, maybe McDowell County. Yeah. Anyway, I just like the name. I like the name. I'm a West Virginia boy, country boy. So we got going on a little representation from the Mountaineers. Probably going to have a rough football season this year. Didn't have the greatest basketball season this year either. But we still love them. Still love them. Still support them. Yeah, is what it is. So if you're a Pitt fan, I know you just clicked the unlike button. I apologize. Sorry. So anyways, 8-hour trial takes place in Barnstable County Courthouse. A jury deliberates for 27 minutes and finds Jane Toppan not fucking guilty. Fuck off, are you kidding me? By reason of insanity. She spent the rest of her life at Taunton State Hospital, dying on August 17th, 1983. Here's the thing. The insanity plea was based off of the suicide attempts. And again, I go back to the fact that she was poisoning people left and right. There's no doubt about that. She confessed to the crimes. Clear as day that she was the one that did it. The suicide attempts were clear bullshit attempts at attention. And not only did it get the stupid bitch attention, it got her fucking off. Not completely off. She does spend the rest of her life in a psychiatric hospital, but she lives till she's goddamn 84 fucking years old, dies of natural causes, and it's fucking bullshit. It's absolute horsewash, horseshit. She did not get what she deserved. She got off on some people being fucking sympathetic to something that, man, I'm sorry. You might disagree with me on this, but I really feel like if you have half a brain, there's no way you can feel like those suicide attempts were legit. There's no way. She knew how to kill herself.
I feel like thinking about it after the fact, after we talked about it, maybe it was poetic justice. Because she started off in the asylum.
I don't, though. I don't. She should have been killed. I mean, she should have been killed, or she should have spent the rest of her life in prison. That's just me. And we're going to close with one last statement here. Some attendants remembered her calling into her room and smiling. Get more morphine, Dory. Excuse me. Get some morphine, dearie, she said. We'll go out in the ward. You and I will have a lot of fun seeing them die. And that is going to conclude our second round of A Killer Friday. We hope you all enjoyed it as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. I love doing this stuff. And like we said, I know we talked a little bit about education and horror being dead and kind of being put on the back burner, and that was missaid. It's just changing. So Killer Friday, like I said, that's going to be a big focus with it. That's going to really be the crux of an education in horror. And like I said, we're thinking about maybe expanding that at some point in the future. It's just going to kind of depend. And then we have a couple different abandoned places and some different haunted places that we're going to go to. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the research before we go out there and have our presentation and everything already ready for you, and then do the presentation from the location for you on Facebook Live as well. We're going to try and primarily keep an education in horror on Facebook Live for now. We might change that in the future. We don't know yet, but there's a lot of editing and time and stuff that goes into the haunt reviews. They take a long time to produce and to put together. We're trying to make a better production, but regretfully with that, these things take a little bit of time, especially for two people working full-time jobs to put together. So it's unrealistic for us to think that we can continue to be able to splice together everything all at once like that and keep up with all this stuff. On top of, talking scared as well. So it's easier for us to do these on Facebook Live. Plus, we love the opportunity to possibly be able to interact with some people and everything like that. And you get to see me mess up live. Right there. It happens. Fuck up. You get to see it. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. We got 2 new serial killers tomorrow morning. Don't know who they are yet. We're going to talk about it as soon as we get off here. I'm kind of excited to talk about it and see who we got coming at you. I may have dropped some hints. I may not have. But for now, we love you folks. Have a good night.